Hello, everybody. The boys are back. Welcome to Footy Abroad. It is Tuesday, the 1st of July. Lads, Jake, haircut?
Birthday month. Let's go.
Yeah. Wow.
I forgot Terry's got a haircut fetish.
Hey,
Looks good.
Look good, feel good, play good.
That's it.
Yep.
What can I say? The boys are back. Pommy's back. It feels a little whole again. How are you, Pommy?
I'm good.
How was your rest from us last week?
Little precautionary week off. No sinister injuries here, no secret scans or anything. But no, great to be back. Great to be back. I missed you all last week. I hope chat missed me as much as I missed them. Raring to go. Another week in paradise, as they say, eh?
Yeah. Jake, mate, what's the story? How's your haircut?
Yeah, very spontaneous. I thought, the show's on tonight. Got to look good, obviously, Terry. So went out. Shout out to Huntingdale Barber. He's great. My guy there. So he does a good job. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk footy with you.
Yeah. Luke,
What's going on?
big week this week.
Huge week. It's the start of the winter solstice. Big week. That's the only thing on this week, right? The big winter solstice.
Pies,
It's going to be.
Yeah, they're knocking each other out at training. They're getting in each other's way.
Just trying to make it easier for you guys, you know.
Yeah. So, well, I'm sure we're going to get into that tonight. Maybe we can go around, talk about our teams and how they went and the story. Pommy, you want to kick us off with our Blues?
Oh dear. Carlton Football Club. It's hard work, isn't it? It's hard yakka at the minute. Blues, they were poor. Let's be honest. There's no nice way to say it. You're not going to dance around this as bad as it could be. Some good news though. The board came out of hiding. They talked to you, so maybe there is a change. It could be a change. But I mean, we did coin a new term, didn't we, in player ratings? Carltonism, the modern day equivalent of communism. So we'll see. We'll see if the new guy is Lenin, Putin, or is he more of a generous leader? We'll find out. But yeah, it's not good at the minute. Let's be honest, being a blue boy. But we continue to fight another day. And we've got a big fight this week, haven't we? We've got our arch nemesis in the top left.
I realised when you weren't here last week how lucky I do have it, because I had to obviously sit here after the North loss and sort of sit in that, and I realised that the way that this show's been set up, you've become like a bit of a blanket for me as well. So we'll get laughed at again tonight, but at least we have two of us. So anyway,
just two of us.
Jake, the Saints, I was sure lock of the week. I was donating to the Saints TV stream, even copped a stray afterwards as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
How's this, right? So I'm got around Jake. I'm like, first quarter, I'm like lock of the week, and then end of the game, I said, Jake, are you going to be going in the car? Like a bit of lighthearted, fun.
I didn't read it that way, man. I didn't read it that way. I read it as like, get in the car and do the review. I'm like, nah, mate. Like, I'm going to do it here. Don't tell me what to do, but no, you did contribute. You donated, which was very kind of you. And
the boys, the Saints.
It was, I don't know if you actually watched much of the Saints game, but I thought we played pretty well. I thought we were the better team for most of the game until the last 10 minutes. And some inaccuracy hurt us and inexperience probably. We went in with the younger team again, but Tyru was, what are you reading? Is there a comment there, Terry?
No.
Is there something funny there?
So what you've just said, Pommy and I had a conversation on the phone. We're like, oh, Jake's going to say exactly what you just said.
Well, is that because it's the truth or?
Well, it is.
I know you're better than you. That's that.
I don't want to
No,
know
as
me,
in,
but
we were like commiserating, like, oh, now we've got to go on footy abroad, and Jake's going to tell us how the Saints played well.
I
and,
could tone it down and say that we should have won by 10 goals, but we're shit and we need a rebuild. But we're kind of already done. We've already, been in that boat, and we're kind of getting out of it now. And
yeah.
Well, now it's different. Now the approach is different, and the way we're playing and the players that we're playing. Like, this was the first time I haven't seen a team with Jimmy Webster, Brad Hill, Zach Jones, and there are a lot of experience not in the team. We've dropped 5 years in average age in 3 weeks. So 23 on the weekend, 13 players under the age of 23, I think, played on the weekend. And we came within it, it was really a kick. Jackson kicked a goal after the siren to make it 2 goals, but we were within a kick and leading for, 3/4 of the game or half the game, whatever it might have been. And yeah, I was pretty happy with the result. Similar to the Collingwood game the week before. I kind of took a lot out of it that was positive, and there's a lot of the vision for the future and I mean, you can't do this and not mention Tyroo and the sort of second game he played. It was awesome to watch, and gives us something
record?
Was
it a club record or an AFL
equal
record?
club record, and I think it was an equal AFL record or something as well. Like when it popped up, I think it was like third quarter. He already had 12 or something. But the good thing is, in a year's time, he'll start marking them more. So he won't be the spoil king. He'll start backing himself more and taking the marks. But some of the contests he got to, I couldn't believe he had that sort of closing pace. But
he's incredible.
Yeah, I think we've got one there. I think this is going to be something that finally it's the opposite of a Billings situation where we got the right player and a lot of clubs passed up on him, like North looking at him at pick 2. They probably think, well, maybe there was one that slipped there, and a lot of clubs didn't go for him as well. So, a reason to go to the footy and enjoy it. Despite win-loss, it's seeing someone like him fly for it and play for the jumper.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it's exciting times. Absolutely. And it goes to show, you can play the kids and not play worse. They bring you energy.
Yeah, play better even.
Yeah. Luke, you play with your food, the pies, they just cruising, coasting. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't get out of first gear until the second half. Tried a lot of, not a lot, but tried a bit of different things in that first half, and different setups and stuff. Like went with 4 talls at Marvel, which was never sort of going to work, but we tried it. And yeah, just gearing up, trying to go bruise-free football until this Friday night against the Blues. But yeah, we're humming along nicely. Could have played better and beaten them by a bit more. But West Coast have actually been playing okay these last few weeks. I know they haven't been winning, but they've actually been a half decent side. So it was a good game just to go out there. I went with Mum, so that was really nice. I usually go with Dad, but he was making salami on the weekend. So he couldn't come. So Mum took his spot, and actually she gets a bit more rowdy than Dad. Dad doesn't really say anything because he listens to SEN. Mum she doesn't even know what's happening, and she's just yelling at the at the umpires, which is really nice. So it's pretty good. It was pretty fun.
Love that.
We got to see Charlie West debut as well, which is nice. So that's our key forward, who just came off at 3/4 time and just found out that he has a bone stress fracture in his foot. So he's out for 6 weeks, which is incredible. So thank you, Marvel, for that. That's really, really cool.
Wow. Okay. Well, bumper show on the cards. Big things coming up. We'll talk about round 17, I'm sure, later in the show, because it's like, how can we not, and what's coming up. Luke, do you want to kick us off? Topic of the week? Yeah,
beautiful. So with Dom Sheed retiring today, we're always, pies are always getting Sheed in gifts and comments and all that sort of stuff. I want to know what is. So first, the first thing that came to my head, and thanks to TJ in the comments for helping me out with to nut this sort of out, was going to be, what grand final heartbreak have you gotten over? But we'll go with something else.
All right, mate. All right.
Nah, it's going to be what game? Either like a big game, well, mainly a big game, not like a round 4 game. Like heartbreak was hard to get over, but you can kind of see you're starting to see the back of it now. Like mine would be obviously the Dom Sheed goal. That I'm sort of, I think that the flag in 23 really sort of wiped that, and I think it's actually a sliding doors moment. And I said it, I can't remember who I said it to, but I think if Sheed missed that and we went on to win the flag, we'd be in the position that West Coast are in right now. I feel like Pendles wouldn't be playing anymore. Buckley would probably still be, maybe not right now, but he would have still been coached for a couple of years. Eddie would have stayed on. It would have been a very, very different club to the club that we're seeing right now. And I have a feeling that the sliding doors was that kick, and we could have been West Coast and down the bottom.
That's a good, yeah.
Or even that, like a sliding doors moment, really.
Sliding doors moment. I mean, I just can't go past Jamie Elliott running into open goal.
True.
I just can't get past that day. As in, I have obviously, but I still remember Pommy coming on the fan cams and saying, we're like first team in however long to be or ever to be in the 8 for the entire year, but for the last 60 seconds or whatever. It was just like such a sliding doors moment. Like, does Corey Durden hit the kick at half forward flank instead of going long where the ball, where the Carlton player wasn't? Like, what happens? Was that moment what the Blues needed to then go on and make the prelim the next year, or the year after, whatever?
Thank you, Mrs.
Yeah. So that one took a while to really get over.
Do you think you're like over it though now? Like it's a different, like you don't sort of go, obviously what could have been, because there's, the Pies can have done that 1,000 other times as well.
Okay, yes, I am. And it kind of sparks the other one, which is Andrew Walker being held in the final against West Coast 2011. Yeah. He was held. Yep. He was absolutely held.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think back to, we played Port away. I think it was 2017, and we were, I think for most of that year, a game or just percentage out of the 8, and we were looking like we were going to make finals. We only needed to win, I think, 1 or 2 of the last 5 or something, whatever it might have been. And we were playing Port away, our bogey team, and I think we were 11 points up with 37 seconds to go or something like that. And they kick a goal, and then it goes back to the center. They win the clearance, and then there's a boundary throw in with about 7 seconds to go. We're on the brink of winning a game and getting into the 8 with like 3-4 weeks to go in the season. And Paddy Ryder caps it backwards. Robbie Gray, classic goal, kicks it, and the siren goes as he kicks it.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah. I think it was 2017. But that was an absolute heartbreaker. Like watching it with the fam and seeing, like, because I remember the game was close all day and we kicked a couple of quick goals. Like Dunstan snapped a really good one. Membry was good in that game, I remember. And I thought, shit, okay, this is monumental. An away win, go back and play West Coast at home. And we won that game anyway, but we'd lost the Port game and we didn't make finals. And I think we missed it by percentage or a game. And I always think about that game. And that was Alan Richardson days. And we had a good year in 2017.
Jesus.
That game. And then Robbie Gray's done it maybe 3 times, but on another one, like more dramatic, I know a lot of Saners believe that if we had a 197 or at least 2004, where I think it was Gavin Wanganeen kicked a goal in the prelim and they Port won by 6 and then they smashed Brisbane. If we win one of those, I think we win it. Like we made a prelim in 05, a home MCG prelim, we coughed it up, and then we probably win one of, I think it's just one of those things where you win one grand final and then that recent sort of, experience, and that, like every grand final we make now, the build-up is, oh my God, it's St Kilda's second flag. Like if we had got that done in 97, maybe there's less pressure on 04 or 5, 9, 10 in those teams to not be the team to save St Kilda, but just to win another flag for St Kilda, and take that weight off the shoulders. But we never have gotten to that. But this team we've got now, they're going to have to shoulder that burden and really carry that through in the next 10 years, if we want to win that second flag.
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
For games, I don't really have one, to be honest, because I think it's dangerous looking in the past and like it's impossible to say, isn't it? I think sliding doors is a real danger.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I look at moments. I always look. I'd love to be able to see an alternate universe when just before the 2018 trade period, Stephen Silvani did a really big press conference where he talks about Carlton were going to go out, get some mid-age players to protect its young core. It's heavily drafted in 2 years. And then 4 weeks later, spunked up a first on Mitch McGovern and detracted from the plan. And then 3 years later, when he left the club, he openly said that the plan changed in that 4 week block when pressures came on him to get a big name recruit. And I'd love to see what that plan would have looked like. I'd love to be able to sit Stephen down and go, what was the plan? Like, what could I have had? Because I do really think that was when Carlton went from new Carlton, we're going to build it, we're going to build Rome and you're all going to come. So, hang about, we're old Carlton, let's get in the headlines, let's get the big names. We're still Billy Big Bollocks, and we're in the mess we're in now. So I think if there is a sliding doors moment, I think that was the last time Carlton did it right. And that was the first sign of problem, 2 wins, a lot of pressure coming on the playing group. And we shifted to the old way of trying to buy our way out of trouble. And, well, you look where we are now, 50-point loss to Port Adelaide, dreams over, folks. So, I mean, there you are. So that's one. I don't think it's playing. I'd love to have seen what the plan was, because I feel, look at all the other clubs, they're just sticking to the plan. They haven't detracted and they've had success. I wonder if we'd be in a different situation had we hit the draft one more time, bought in the mid-age recruits, and maybe be a different football club. I'd love to know what would have happened.
Do you think so? Just as a second sort of bit to that, and mainly, I guess, for Jake, because of what you said about the the players now shouldering that burden for like another 10 years or whatever it may be, right, until you win your next flag. Do you think we live, football clubs live too much in the past and not really, or is it more the fans? Like, is that a fan sentiment thing to say, do you reckon? Or is that, I know the club won't come out and say, oh, these players are going to be shouldering the burden. I know that's not but do you feel that from the club, or do you just feel that from just the fans?
It's weird. Yeah, I feel that from the fans, obviously, because there's fans that went to the game in 66 and they probably thought they'd see a couple more moments, in the next 50, 60 years, and hasn't eventuated. And that builds that frustration. Yeah. Every loss for even, a loss to Collingwood 2 weeks ago, those, 50, 60 year members are feeling that because they want to see at least their second flag. And you see a lot of those comments, one more before I go type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, people just say that. For the internal, like the four walls of the club, I've always said that the further away they get from that, not forget the history, but don't bring it up as much. Like, we used to do it a lot too. Like, it's always the second flag. It's always, 66 and what's next. And, a second flag with St Kilda versus a flag with any other club. It's not going to be the same thing. It's more special at St Kilda. Like, I don't know if we had that up on the wall somewhere at the club at one point. I'm not sure if we still do. But, I don't want us to, maybe we made that mistake in the past, with the teams that we had. Maybe there was too much of a reflection on the past and what it would bring in the future. But yeah, I think right now the players that we've got, I mean, I don't hear it as much as I used to before the channel. Like, when I used to go to the football, I don't think about it as much. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that means we're doing things right. And I'm certainly not watching highlights of Fraser Gehrig kicking 10 like I used to. You know what I mean? Like, watching highlights of some youngsters coming through now that remind me of like a Rui or whatever. That's good. Yeah. But that's probably where I'm at. Yeah. But every Sainer would be probably different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that. Jake?
Yes. I've got a pretty solid one, I think. I had it as my second one for last week, but I'll bring it up this week. If you could invent a new stat for footy, what would it be? what act or moment in a game do you think deserves to officially be tracked? So there was, and I like watching the game with Woody. Obviously, he's big on his stats, so it kind of got me thinking about that and what happens during a game that you can't find out. Because I didn't even know you could find out spoils, but you can. And Taru obviously made that a lot easier on the weekend to find it. But I thought it would be interesting, like clutch pressure acts in a game. So like essentially tracking like possessions that lead to score involvements in a final 5 minutes of a game, or in a particular part of a game when the pressure rating is above 180 or 190. So you can actually track when players butcher the ball under the heat, or you can find out the segmentation of the best players, like a Naz. I'd love to see Naz's kicks when the pressure's on at 190 plus. Because we say he's a great kick, but when the heat's on, I'd love to know the actual number of what his efficiency might be. So that was one. And then the other one was like actual time inside 50. Maybe this is an actual one, but we've got like inside 50s per game, like Saints 50, Freo 60. But I'd love to know, was our 60, the time difference, did Freo have 23 minutes more in their front half than we did? Maybe they held it in more. Maybe they rebounded ours more. So, because a lot of people say, we had more inside 50s, but so what if they're just getting marked by Sicily and he's kicking it straight back out? I'd love to know if our forwards are locking it in and knowing the actual minutes, of that. So I think those are two stats that I thought would be kind of cool.
It's a really good topic.
Time in forward half does exist as a percentage, Jake.
Percentage. Yeah, I know percentage. Yeah, I guess that kind of explains it, but yeah.
No, I was just saying it is there, so you could do that one yourself if you wanted to. You just have to times it by the minutes.
yeah. Amount of tears shed by. That's.
Okay. Yeah.
He's looking very happy in that profile picture there.
Yeah.
I know they talk about broken tackles a lot, but I've never seen the actual stat. So I don't know if they're just saying, it looks like they've had a dozen broken tackles, or if they can quantify that. Because I feel like that's a really good indicator of, obviously defensive efforts. So you're not just putting one arm out, but it's a really good indicator of the pressure factor and how hard your team is actually going for the ball. If you've got, 40 tackles, but, you've had 70 broken tackles or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really interesting.
Like the tackle that the ball is not then disposed. So it's either a repeat stoppage or it's a holding the ball. That'd be really cool to see, because like they'll count a tackle where you wrap him around the waist, but the guy just lifts his hands and handballs it out. That's still a tackle.
Exactly.
But
it's
the
not
play
maybe
continues.
like effective tackle. Yeah, like an effective tackle.
Like it actually stops the play either with a free kick or a stoppage. Would be kind of cool.
I think breaking that down would be really sick to see.
Yeah.
That is a stat as well. That's a Champions Data exclusive stat.
I was going to say they've probably got a lot of stats that
tackle efficiency. It's called, so they will tackle. And you occasionally hear David King. He likes to bring that one up when he's lambasting a player, and it's kind of like 50-50. If you agree with it, he'll start using the CD exclusive stats because you can't argue with him. Then it's a great technique.
It is. It is.
What about like recovery time? Like after there's like a loose ball or a ground ball, like at the time of like how quickly the team then retains possession. Is that a stat?
What? So losing possession and then an imaginary timer goes off, and how long it takes the team to recover it?
Like, if Saints have got the ball and then we're dispossessed, how long then does it take us to then regain that ball?
Yeah, I'm not too sure if I've never heard any pundit use that one.
Okay. Yeah.
I've never.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of
stats.
It's
a great stat, though, because it's actually on the line of a stat I'd like to use. I love recovery stats. So they do calculate players that are caught out of position. I'd love a stat that shows you pressure acts when they're caught out. So if you miss a tackle and then you chase down, I'd like to see which players are the best at recovering from an error. So if you see so many players. So Josh Worrell is someone that I really enjoy watching because the amount of times he makes a mistake, the player gets the wrong side of him. But like the famous spoil on Jesse Motlop that we had where he's running in to go and Worrell's chased him down from 100 meters, like absolutely taken. He's beaten the ball to go to Jesse and then stop Jesse on the goal line. I'd love a stat for that so we could actually see how many people make a mistake but then recover. And it's their one. I'd also love to see, I've got a video. I don't want to spoil it, but if it's enjoyable, I'll do it once a week for other players in my other reviews. But an actual real disposal efficiency. So at the moment, disposal efficiency, you get a tick. If we're playing football now and I kick it to Terry and it's in the vicinity of Terry, but Terry has to haul ass to win the ball, that counts as a good kick by me. Mm-hmm. I'd like to have a stat where a kicking efficiency only counts if you don't have to do anything. So you just have to stand there and mark it, or you just have to stand there and take possession. If there's any fending off, bumping, having to scrap and win the ball, having to bring the ball to ground yourself and then wrestle it, that doesn't count as a kick, because I believe a true pass should be to your advantage so you don't have to do anything. I think
that's wild.
So a great example is, and it's something that I always argue at the minute, people like to toss off certain players. So at the minute, Kane Farrell gets a lot of touching because he's kicking his, but you watch 90% of his kicks are long bombs down to a contest down the wing when they're under Kosh. So he goes at like 90% because he's hit a target, he's hit a contest. So it counts, he's hit what he's aiming. I'd like to separate that and go, well, no, it went to a 50-50. It's a 0. You don't get anything for that.
Yeah.
So, and that's why Carlton's are quite warped. You see Carlton's kicking efficiency, and sometimes it's 83.2%. But then you actually go back and watch it, and that 83%, 50 of it is hitting a target that was in contest. And someone's had to work their ass off to win the ball and keep it in possession. So I'd love to see a stat that I would have all efficiency on. Did the player have to do anything to retain possession? If not, 0%.
That's wild. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like,
yeah, Woody.
It just doesn't.
Woody did a great video where he breaks it down. The other week, it's well worth watching because he actually shows how it's an absolute fraudulent stat. Well, and the media use it all the time to say if you're a good kick or not.
Is there there's kicking efficiency that we're all obsessed with, but the amount of handballs that I see missed, I'd love to just see a handball. Is there a handball efficiency?
Yeah, there is a handball. Can that be broken down?
There is?
As well.
Okay, cool.
There is. But again, all the efficiency stats work off. Did it go somewhere that was the best way to layman's terms is it goes where you're aiming. So kicks to contest count as 100%. So, but if you think about it in reality, sometimes them kicks to contest are because you've kicked the ball too high in the air. It's hung up in the air, which has allowed the defender to come in and create a contest. Where if you watch someone who gets panned for his kicking quite a bit, Bailey Smith, but you watch Bailey Smith, he's probably got one of the truer kicking efficiencies in the league because it's flat and low. So when he does hit a target, he's gone to the man and it's got there too quickly. But then you get the floaters. Adam Sard's a floater. He gets quite high kicking efficiency stat. But you watch 9 out of 10, he just hangs it in the air. And it is a good kick. But because it's taken so long to get to him, it's become a contest. And it's counted as if he's hit the target. But in reality, it's completely butchered your attacking setup.
Yeah.
Wow. So my one would be, well, there's two parts to my answer. I would like to see teams and players use this strategy more. You know so Isaac Rankine set up a direct goal just from like a knock on. He had the option to handball and he just knocked it on. And I don't think he gets a stat for that knock on with his fist or whatever it was. And I noticed that when teams are moving the ball and they're in transition, like the smart teams have this ability to just like tap the ball. I don't think there's a stat for a tap if you do it. And if there is, I would like to see that added. It's not a handball, right?
Yeah, but it would be a score involvement if he set up the goal directly, right? It'd be a direct goal assist.
With a tap?
Well, if he set up the goal, it wouldn't register the tap, but it would say that he was the last possession before the goal was kicked, I'd imagine, right, Pom? That'd be a goal assist.
I don't know, because has he taken is it, that's what I'm saying, like, is it deemed that he's taken possession of the ball if he's tapped it?
Right, because I mean, I would just see that as a goal assist directly. If he's tapped it to Tex Walker, who snaps a goal, that's a goal assist, right? That's a score involvement.
I don't know.
There's no way he wouldn't get counted for that just because he didn't get possession. That seems like he's robbed of a stat there.
It's a CD exclusive, that one. Yeah.
Is
That's
it?
a champion data. Ah, okay.
Is it actually? Yeah. Oh my god.
So from memory, this
Can
is
we get them to sponsor this?
This is only going from 2022, so it might have changed. But a good friend of mine worked at Champions Data, and it worked out that I think we get access at the time to 52 stats, but they correlated 2050.
Right. Yeah.
And they are exclusive to the media.
To the media.
Yeah. So the
So
media are the ones who, and the football clubs as well.
Yep. So the media could easily make some stories up of certain stats that aren't at hand for us. But
if you want, Terry, I've just sent a link in the chat about the definition of stats from 2017, and it's got stuff that we were just talking about, like contested knock on. So like a hit out shark. So like all these ones must be bloody ones that they keep data of.
Interesting. I think this will help the ball move quicker if more teams did it.
Yeah, Collingwood do that in training. Like that's the big.
I've noticed it. The good teams do it. I've noticed.
Richmond when they won flags,
drills for it. We're doing
Richmond
it as well.
Were the best when they won their flags. They were so good at it. They hardly grabbed the ball. It was just constant ground ball.
Look at that one. Kick. Hit out shark. A hit out that directly results in an opponent's possession. Like that would be awesome to see. Like in Brodie Grundy at one stage was having like 60 in the prelim against the Giants in 2019. I think he had about 60 or something hit outs, and I can guarantee you 50 of them would have went to the Giants midfielders. So it looks like he had a day out, but
I'd love to know like when it says free kicks, I'd love to be able to break down how many were holding the ball, how many were out in the full, how many were 50s, instead of just getting 30 free kicks. I'd love to know exactly what the free kicks were for, That'd be cool.
It is. Wow. It is fascinating because, like, if you go EPL, go soccer, there is subscription services where you can get advanced data called Stat Scout and things like that. With Scout, they're quite cheap as well, and you're getting access to like 50,000 stats. Like with Scout is probably the best software I've ever seen because it literally condenses every player within 6 hours as well to every macro of stat. So it's absolutely insane. So if you're a starter nerd, you can click and find every unsuccessful tackle of a player in a 90-minute block, and you can download the video and it automatically syncs it so you can see it. But for free, there's thousands and thousands of stats. It's surprising that the AFL doesn't do it. I have a theory why they don't do it. And the theory why they don't do it is they're allowed to then control the narrative and they're learning from a central point. That's probably why they do it, because I think if people got too much information, they'd realize how simplistic this game is actually and how it's not really that technically hard to understand. So if you keep some of it shrouded in mystery, it gives the power to the few. So, it's fascinating because I've been taking the piss out of Lee Montagna. He used the kicking efficiency stat to pan Carlton and then did this wonderful 30-minute block of analysis and managed to somehow have all the data and come up with the wrong conclusion because the conclusion didn't suit his narrative that he wanted to sell. So it's absolutely fascinating. When you actually watch some of it, it's fascinating how you can actually use the data in your favour to lie. And I've always said it on Blue Abroad. Like, I can find any data aspect you want and change the narrative of the fact if you want. I just choose not to do it, but it's quite easy. With the selection of data we've got, you could change it. You could change everything.
100%. They couldn't say that, Ross plays a dour brand of football if we're going through the corridor and playing on off the mark more than any other team, Couldn't sell that story.
Wow. Okay.
That's cool.
That was good.
Thank you.
I'll go next. So I want to ponder a question, right? And the second part to it will come after we've had a little chat about the first part. So can you define what your club's identity is, and then how you tie into that identity and why, if possible?
Their identity.
What is your club's identity, and how/why do you represent it with your channel?
I'd like to think that the Pies' club identity aligns with the motto of side by side. Like, I think there was a time where we sort of strayed from that, and I think with Craig McRae coming into the side, you know, it's well publicised how we've become a family club now, and people are coming in. You know, families are coming into the change rooms, and before, like with Buckley and stuff, they weren't allowed to. And you know, the other couple of weeks ago, I saw Pendlebury's kid was on the captain's run a day before the game. So I think that side by side is a really good Collingwood identifier, and I feel like how I sort of come into it is, I guess, that sense of community for fans, and it just feels like a family from the top down. Like, you know, the 2023 message that whole season was bring in the 19th man, like bring the fans along for the journey and for the ride. And that was literally after the premiership. That was the first thing that he said, and he went on about it for a couple of minutes in that presser. So I think that side by side community family is there, like what Sean said. I think that's the Collingwood identity.
I think I've said it maybe in a different question in another episode, but I think it's just the identity for me is their backs against the wall. They're the underdog. They're imperfect, but they're loyal, and I really love that. Like, I think the fan base is incredibly loyal. Well, strength through loyalty is obviously what we go by, but it feels like success will come, but I guess the journey is very meaningful at St Kilda because of what we've gone through. So all the heartbreaking, there's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of issues with the club. And I think for me as a person, it's pretty similar. I don't think I've, been handed anything on a silver platter. I think I've kind of had to work for, what I've gotten. And I think St Kilda have to work for what they're going to get. And that's the thing that resonates with me the most is what we're doing right now, which is the president standing up and the coach voicing their opinion and making it known, even if they're the small guy, that they can have a voice, they can say what's right and try and make change, even if the odds are stacked against you. And I feel like, for me as a person, that kind of resonates. Well, that's very zoomed in on me. I was going through the motions there. I thought you were going to cut you two out and just put me there forefront, but
Swoop's
had enough. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Swoop he'll never understand what it's like. He'll never get
Google
it.
Chrome decided to update. Sorry, guys.
He'll never get it. Long story short, stubborn, backs against the wall. I love it. I don't want to ever follow a trend or a club or anything because the masses do, because they're loud and they're obnoxious and they think because they're big and loud that they're always right. I love that we are the opposite to that. I love that we are the opposite to the Collingwoods and the Carltons. I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Is that a pot shot?
No, not at all. Because I know that's not why you follow them,
Is this play about us? Is this play about us?
Nah. Oh, I could say Asset. I could say any club. Most clubs are bigger than us anyway. It doesn't make a difference. So
that's interesting you say that, right? So within that, what you've just said, how will the Saints be able to become the champions if they're constantly that underdog that backs against the wall? Like at some point, you jump over that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Eventually, I'd like to think so. But I think we're going to have to be really smart. We're going to have to be more driven than any other club. I know that every club is driven, but we're going to have to go to an insane level to get there because of what's been happening. Julia's got it there. serves as a symbol of courage, adversity, especially at a time when the club had experienced minimal success, to serve as a reminder to never give up. That is spot on. That is spot on, to never give up. I think that's the number one thing that most people in life should always strive for, is just to keep going. And the club, despite their problems, have done that. But to answer your question, to get over that hump, I don't think it's to become anything other than what we're becoming. I think we're just going to have to be clever with our drafting. We're going to have to keep the right people in, and it's the culture. So if our culture is better than anyone's in the four walls, I think that goes a long way. And we haven't talked about it yet, but even just getting our own VFL team, you have no idea how excited I am about that. That is enormous news. It might not mean much for the outsider because most clubs already have it, but for us to do it and have Moorabbin as a selling point for the youth and to develop, I think is enormous. So I think just honestly continue to do what we're doing and push the envelope, because we've followed the rules already and look how far it's gotten us. Has it done us much? Not really. So we're going to have to sort of toe the line a little bit more, and I think that's what we're doing.
The St Kilda Rebels. Instead of
and throw big money, baby. Give the money to TDK. Come on over. Like, we're gonna have to do shit like that. So that is what it is. That's what we're gonna do.
All right, Pommy, what's your definition of the Carlton Football Club identity?
Well, I mean, you said does my channel reflect that? I fucking hope not. Because I mean, let's be honest. When I first signed up for this role, I would say, like, my father-in-law sold it. Strong history, winners, win at all costs, a commitment to be successful. And I think I've heard them niches from coaches ever since, and board members, where we're driven by success. It's about getting back to the top of the mountain, rich history, rich lineage, and things like that. I think if you ask me honestly, I couldn't resonate with Carlton Football Club any less, because people might disagree, but I don't consider myself an arrogant human being. I definitely don't have a superiority complex where I believe everyone is equal until they prove me wrong, or they prove me more successful than that. I believe everyone has the fair chance. I feel Carlton focus on all the wrong things. Incredible off the field. We've got all these pathways. Carlton respects IFLW. We're so good at telling you what we're doing well, but we're incredible. So that's another character trait of mine that doesn't exist. I'd rather tell you the things I'm bad at than the things that I'm good at. I'll show you the things I'm good at. So, yeah, do I resonate with Carlton? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Look at our fan base. Our fan base will tell you how many homes they own, how rich they're doing, what cars they've got, how great their life is, and things like that. It's not me. Check my socials, my personal ones. Do you know what I mean? I'm very humble and a modest human being. So, do I resonate with it as an identity, as what it really is? Absolutely not. I couldn't condemn something as much as I could the public opinion of Carlton Football Club as a human being. Like, they are the opposite of everything I stand for in every single way.
So that is a realization I had recently around that, right? So I've realized that I sort of grew up and, through no fault of my own, it was just the narrative of what Carlton was passed down to me, and I ended up being a mouthpiece for it, based off the stories of the fans and my family, my mum. The great Carlton represents excellence and winning and all of this stuff, right? And then I was actually a guest on the Two Guys One Cup podcast the other night, and there was a moment in the show where we had this realization. Well, they had this realization because they had grown up in the 80s. And their Carlton mates were proud, loud, proud, successful, and the Saints, they weren't a winning club, and neither were the Western Bulldogs. And we all of a sudden found ourselves, the three of us, sitting, talking. It's like, what the hell are you doing here? You're the Carlton supporter, and the Doggy supporter is the one that has more to brag about, or one of the other two, than what I do. So it really kind of got me thinking. The longer I do this, the more separate I feel from what the identity is, to the point where I think it's kind of reflective of the Carlton Football Club at the moment. It's like so tied down by what it was that it has lost its ability to continue to be that. And I think when I asked for meaning last week or the week before around, if it's all about winning, does it make you a true supporter? I think I've turned into that discussion, and I think I'll dig deeper into that over the next few weeks. But I don't know what the identity is, because my identity is different to an entire generation before me. And that gap is growing, Like, we're not a fucking white collar, perfect, pristine club. We're not. We were built on the self-made, hard-working labor. And that became on-field success, which then became what it was. And yeah, it's a really fascinating paradigm that I'm digging into at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting because I never thought of it that way, that the image in the past to the image now is separating, whereas maybe, I don't know if Saints fans have it in a weird way a little bit easier because we've just been consistently the underdog. Like, I can't tell you a moment where we weren't, even in 09-10, like we're the best team, but it was always that narrative of, can they do it? Can they, can't believe they're going to make a grand final. All these loyal Saints fans, they've gone through it all, and that would have gone through the 60s, 70s, 80s, horrible time, 90s. And now, like, it's the narrative in a weird way hasn't, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not deviated a whole lot. So it's kind of not like we've ever had to get used to something else. Whereas maybe now you're going through that moment.
Definitely. I've got to that point where it's like, hello, it doesn't represent excellence, and it doesn't represent winning, and it doesn't represent a ruthlessness. It doesn't represent any of these things that I just believe, because that's what I was told. Mummy and Daddy told me that Santa was real,
Do you feel like it's a metamorphosis now for you, Terry?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I honestly do. And I was speaking to the president yesterday, and we had a little moment, and I asked him, like, how many flags have you seen? He's like, I've seen 8.
I saw that, yeah.
5 spoons. And I think something in there happened as well. I'm like, does he know what it's like to not know what it's like?
I was just about to fucking ask you. Do you think
he know?
Look, are they? Oh, look, I don't know, man. But I don't know how your board and presidents and stuff think. But do you reckon that hit him as hard as you would have liked it to have hit him? Or he's like, I've seen 8 flags. Like, I'd love to see another one, but hey, I've seen fucking 8 flags.
Did it hit him as hard as what I would have liked it to? I don't know. It was very much. It was a spur of the moment. I didn't plan to say it to him. It was all off the cuff. But I'm glad it came out, because I think it's actually a symbolic part of it. It's like everyone in there making decisions knows, because they've had that ultimate euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
Everyone from the 90s, born in the 90s onwards or 2000s onwards, like, does not know. Like, it's like a foreign concept. So
yeah.
And then, of course, you've got like cheating and salary cap and all of these things, and, win at all costs. You can get away with it back in the day. Like, so there's a bit of that too. And so it's just, as you can tell, I'm having a existential crisis trying to figure out what the hell to do with the Carlton Football Club. But
the navy blue looks like black if you squint your eyes a little bit, mate. Just put a white stripe and you'll be flying.
It's comments like that remind me why I'm a Carlton. Why? So, like, thank you. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyway,
that's a good
Pommy.
question. Really good question.
Thank you. Great answers, Pommy. Let's. What have you got for us, mate?
Oh, fucking hell! I was just googling, is it left or right on the news knot? But I'll snap out of that and get onto this. Jesus Christ! Right, let's do it, chat. I'm looking forward to this. I've missed you this week. I've got something very special for you this week.
Go,
because you are all my favourite human beings. So here we go. In the immortal words of Rumpelstiltskin, every bit of magic comes with a price, dearies. And we're talking about paying the price this weekend. We know ad nauseum that the most important stat in AFL football is your ability to score from transition, your ability to turn it over and turn attack into defense. So what we've done is this stat doesn't exist anywhere else, and it's taken a while. It's taken 3 weeks to condense it. But
hang on. It doesn't exist anywhere else yet until tomorrow's radio shows.
I've never seen this talked about, so we've had a little bit of a play around. And basically, this tells you how much of a price do you pay on average for getting the ball into the opposition's attacking 50? How much on average do the opposition turn that into a point score? So you'll see that one team in the league averages an opposition inside 50 and generates 0.8 points, 8.1 points for that. And the worst side being 0.45 points. So what we're going to do, chat, and esteemed members of the jury, is we're going to try and work out who's number 1, who is number 18. So we'll start top to bottom. Jakey Bakey.
Can I just? I need to ask a dumb question. Can you please define what we're doing again? So when the ball goes into your,
we're working out on average how much points does a side score from an opposition inside 50. In other words, you kick it into my inside 50. On average, how much points do I generate from that rebound?
Per possession?
So per inside 50, how many scores do I score from opposition inside 50s? So basically, we've calculated if there was a points value for the risk factor, what points does every inside 50 potentially be on average?
Could you give us one example? Just to...
Okay. You know what? We'll make it easy, right? So the worst side in the AFL... generating inside 50s, Richmond. So every opposition inside 50, every inside 50 they face, on average, they will score 0.5 points. So imagine Richmond, every time they have an inside 50 against, that it usually costs 0.45 points.
Understood.
I feel like Adelaide might be number 1, right?
So you're going to go Port Adelaide?
No. Crows. Adelaide.
I'm sorry. I thought you said Port Adelaide. Adelaide Crows. Yeah, they average a phenomenal 0.81 per opposition inside 50 with the scores they generate from the defensive half. So you pay the price. You enter at your peril with that side. Josh Worrell did a video on him today. Potentially one of the best general defenders in the comp.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna say that Geelong's one of the 0.78.
You'll be surprised. Geelong do not feature in the top 6.
Oh,
really?
Really?
Thought
I'd never lie. That's why this stat makes it interesting, because it's obviously giving you a bit of context for how much opportunity is created. Geelong do score very well, but they also concede quite a lot. So this is really showing you how dangerous they are per catchment. So it takes teams out like Carlton, where Carlton have scored like 90 points against the Eagles from defensive half. That's not really a true reflection of how good Carlton's defensive game is.
Okay, so would the Doggies be top 5?
Yes, they would.
So
you're good at this.
2 or 3.
Indeed, they are. They are the second best side, Mr. Swoop. They are the second best
purely
side.
For the last few weeks. They've been insane.
And they probably don't get enough love from the old media to do this side. But yes, they are the second best side. 0.76. Beating.
And I'll say...
Can I just do one more thing? So I'm Carlton. I'm going into my inside 50, aka the Doggies defensive 50, and they're scoring 0.78 times every time Carlton goes into the Dogs defensive 50.
Yeah, so if you worked it out on all the inside 50s they created, how much points do they score on average from each possession? Inside.
Yeah, cool. Okay. A Gold Coast up there?
Gold Coast are another team that are deceptive. That they score in volume, not per inside 50. So they're not in the top 6, Terry.
Wow.
I reckon one of your frauds is in the top 6. I reckon the Giants are at 6.
They're close. They would be the king of the frauds, though, but they're not in the top 6.
I want to say, Pies are 8. I feel like we have a lot of inside 50s, but don't generate enough scores from them.
Pies are in the top 6, Swoop.
Okay.
The Lions, are they 4th?
You're close. Add one more. Take away one more, Terry.
3rd?
Make them one better.
They're 3rd?
Yes, they are indeed. They are the 3rd best side in the league with 0.78, separated again by 0.2. So 0.782 versus 0.784. Very close.
Are Carlton 9th or 10th?
A Carlton 9th. Good question. No. A little bit worse. Well, a good bit worse, but not too bad.
Okay.
All right, then Pies are 4th then.
Make them one worse.
5th.
So leading the way on a team that literally, these are 4 decimal places separating 5, 6, and 7.
Wow.
Saints 13.
Oh, better than that, Jake.
Oh, better
Not
than
too
that.
much better, but they are better than that.
11th.
Ooh, tiny little bit better.
10th.
Oh, really? Top 10.
10th best side in the league. Langy, I love you, but how do you know so much about the GWS for us? You always get the answers right. Langy
7.
is spot on. The frauds are the top of the elite category, we'll say.
Double Dummies said Hawks at 4.
Ooh,
Do
close.
They, okay, so Hawks at 6 then.
Yeah, well done. The Hawks are there.
Okay.
You'll kick yourself with the 4th. If anyone watched the show last night with the amazing lunchtime catch-up, Essendon Scooter, we were talking about this side and St Kilda and saying that this side is the glamorous St Kilda because they played recently, having the identical age and average games. And the difference being...
Fremantle.
Yeah, well done. Yeah. Being that they've got elite A graders in the midfield. But yeah,
way to go.
Fremantle,
Lads.
very
Way
high
to
up. Very underrated, very good backline as well for scoring. And what this stat tells you while you're thinking at home, what the stat tells you is teams that set up to be attacking, not defensive. So if you actually looked at average defending positions, this is almost the ladder in how teams respect defense. The top 6 sides there play a very bold scoring defense line. And they won't get the kudos for it because teams will then cry about how they how easy it is to get through there. But some teams, I think, have a plan to let you get in there because it's the easiest way to score.
Would 17th be the Eagles?
17th would be the Fun Time Eagles.
Would 16th
rising
be
quite
North?
rapidly though after the last 5 weeks.
Would 16th be North?
16th would be North. Now you're going to struggle because if you're going by the ladder order, this is where it starts.
I think the D's would be like 9th here.
No, you've gone the other way, Terry.
Oh, 15th. 14th.
Just a little bit more than 15. Yeah, 13. So this is one of the fraud stats I call. This is something that Goodwin has put in a lot of time. And at the minute, the data doesn't reflect the hard work and endeavour he has said they are trying to exploit.
Would Carlton be 12?
Would Carlton be 12? Carlton, yeah, with one of the top 3 backlines in the competition, something that David King and Joey Montagna can't bring themselves to tell the truth. Carlton's defence is built not to concede. And in today's game, it has to be built to withhold but score. So Carlton mid-table.
So who we got left? Port Adelaide, Sydney.
Sydney might be up there.
Geelong. Big one's Geelong.
Geelong
were top of this, but they are somewhere in the middle.
Geelong are 11th.
No, they're not.
They're 9th.
No, they're not.
They're 8th.
8th.
Yep, they are 8th. So Geelong, as usual with Geelong, they're more of a methodical across the base side when you look at stats per disposal, as opposed to being quite clustered in one end of the ground. A very well balanced side.
Swans.
Yeah, we've got Swans.
I think the Swans would be 11th.
15th.
No.
No.
I'll give you
They're
a clue.
14th?
There's a reason that Pom's been calling them the giant killers of the back end of the season. There is a couple of data points that make them very dangerous.
Well, then they're 9th.
Indeed, they are. And with players to return that really do help this start, particularly Errol Goulden, one of the harder two-way runners who gets them out of a lot of transition, help with Blakey.
Would Essendon be 15th?
You're not far off. Bit better than that. But
14th.
they are. So now you've got the hard ones. You've got Port and Gold Coast.
Gold Coast will be 11.
Has to be 11th.
Gold Coast 11th. A side that literally spends its entire time on defensive half is what we'd consider a cluster scoring side. They're not going to punish you from turnover, but they do get high amounts because they do get a lot of opportunity, but they do hemorrhage them. So you can see here, this basically just tells you how dangerous sides are in transition. So it's a nice little metric, this, I thought. You don't often see it presented this way. You do often see rebound 50s per score and things like that, but we've done this a little bit differently. We've tried to take what the opposition does on average to what they score, and it's quite an interesting little data point, this.
That's elite. Thank you. That's great.
That's really, really good.
I'm looking forward to seeing this on SEN by Friday.
Hey!
Heaven forbid they'll say cheers, Pommy, for coming up with this. They'll just pass it off at their own and be like, fuck him.
That's brilliant. Do we want to talk about
good stuff.
Tom Lynch suspension?
Yeah, 5 weeks, right?
5
Yes.
weeks. Thoughts?
Good.
Like enough? Not enough? Just about right?
I think that I was saying 4. I think 5 is good. You can't.
I think.
You can't fucking whack a bloke like that. Jesus Christ.
I think it should have been 6. I think it should have been a straight 6, and that's it.
Oh.
Okay.
Should have been it. Should have been it for the year. Should have been out.
Is it because it could have been the Barry Hall? Is that why you think it's so serious?
And, I mean, we
like
should
we're doing
never
the
look at.
action.
Yeah, and we're looking at precedents. I'm looking at. I can't not look at Tyroo getting 4 and this one only being 1 more worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Like how is that? How is that 1 week difference between a tackle and a fist off the ball? Like I can't have that as that's it. You know, it's got to be more. I think I'm amazed they even try to defend it. To be honest, I don't even know how you can defend something like that.
Yeah, and like when you think about it, look, I know they don't compare and stuff like that, but Paul Curtis got 3 weeks for a tackle, and Richmond were hoping 3 weeks for that. Like, Jesus Christ! Like, thankfully, I don't know who he hit. Jordan was it? I don't know who he hit.
I think it was
but
Butts.
Butts. Okay,
I think
thankfully he didn't get knocked out. Which is, imagine he got knocked out. That'd be 12 weeks. Close, it was a close. Well, it looked like a close fist. Like we don't have to.
Well, I think that's why it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier in the year around punish the action. And it looks like when there wasn't a concussion, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it looks like they've actually. I mean, you would think. I mean, we don't see swinging arms like that often.
No, ever. That was, when do we?
Like it's been a while.
Time.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw it as an Alistair Lynch type thing where he's like, I don't care if I get 10 weeks, I'm retiring anyway. That's how I saw it. I'm like, this guy's just playing because he's done. He doesn't actually care if he gets a big whack or not. Like, no pun intended.
Hey, but Jack, he might play for Gold Coast. Jack Rewall was saying, get on the phone.
I was thinking that straight away. I wanted to tweet Jack and go, so this is the guy you want to go to the Gold Coast because Ben King's not a good forward. Anyway,
out.
But if he had to concuss the bloke, that'd be 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
it
it
would have
goes
been
back
10 weeks.
though that we're looking at it the wrong way because he was a disconsolate figure throughout the start. I watched that game with great intent, but from the first 5 minutes, you could see there was something not right with him.
With
he was
Lynch?
very pissed off.
With Tom Lynch?
Yeah, with Tom Lynch. And I personally think it might be a little bit unders because I think if the AFL is serious, what we really want to stamp out is pointless things. And you look, I'll argue to the cows come home. Things like Paul Curtis and the stuff we had a debate about. Can you really control that in the heat of the moment? You're doing a tackle, you are doing a football action. There is no need to turn around off the ball and swing your fist.
Yeah.
Is that?
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's the problem I have, that it was off the ball, it wasn't an action.
The size of him versus the size of Butts. So he's quite a big guy, but it's not the first time he's done that, is it, to be fair? Tom Lynch. He's done that to guys who are smaller than him.
Yeah.
So I'll argue to the cows come home if you concuss someone tackling, because that is a football action. It's what you're paid to do. But unless I've missed something, I don't think there's anything in the AFL contracts to throw punches at people. You know what I mean?
Do you think it was like, are you saying like maybe 6 or 7 or 8? Like, where would you have landed?
Personally, I would say senior player, a guy that's been given a lot of responsibility by Richmond to lead the new wave in, to go on the ground. And if you actually look at that game, he was looking for that from minute one.
Interesting.
I personally think 10 weeks. I personally think 10 weeks.
Interesting.
But this is what I say to you all the time. I know people in the comments are going to be like, oh, the game's going soft. But if you're really serious about head injuries, the ones where you're in total control, there's no excuse. If you're angry and you do something stupid, that's 1,000% on you, in my opinion, regardless of what it is in life. Assault, anything. If you lose your temper, that's all on you. No excuses. Don't care what's going on in your life. That potentially could be a different conversation. He's a big bloke, Tom Lynch. And I think age, maturity, is a member of the senior side of Richmond.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's a leader of the club. Like, he can't
make a standard, because what's going to happen? We had Ross cry about Tyree. Oh, he's just a kid. He's just a kid. And I laughed at it because I was like, shut up, Ross. But in reality, I agree with him. Tyrue's a kid, got 4 weeks. We're giving a week longer for a guy that did it under no football circumstance. Tyree was getting involved in a tuffle in his first year of football. Tom Lynch has been manhandled, bullied, tagged for 10 years. He should be able to deal with it. And if he can't, well, that's why we have prisons.
If Richmond were a top 4 team and he knew he was playing finals, he wouldn't have done that. I really do think there's that process of, it's the end of my career. We're not going to win anyway. I'm just angry. I'm just going to do it, and I'll cop whatever I get. I don't think there was much more in that, but I can't believe it was 5. I really need to read what they said at the end, the AFL Tribunal.
All right. So should we look at the round ahead and maybe do a little tippy?
Yes, please.
Well, before we do that,
loophole the ladder predictor. Look at this man. He spent, ladies and gentlemen, probably 25 to 45 minutes with a Carlton board member, and he's found a way to.
Oh, what have I done here? Oh, maybe. Hang on a minute.
Fuck me.
It's the only thing. It's the closest I'll get to seeing that actually happening. So you know what? Fuck it. Kill me.
Hey, it's actually it's a pretty much a 50-50 game, to be honest.
Now, can we just address something here, right? Can we address something here? Because you last week were giving us the watch, Carlton will lose to Port, which you picked pretty well, and they'll beat Collingwood. Does that still stand?
I think that's why I said it's fucking. Actually, you know what? With Jack Silvani out, I think it doesn't stand anymore.
Is he out? Confirmed?
Yeah, he's out. Confirmed.
Okay.
So
I think he's just
you're gonna
chilling the sauce.
McStay,
Now I know why I took a week off last week.
McStay and Myercheck and Membry with Nick Hayne as the fullback.
Now, can I just ask a question? Just an honest, innocent
We have this
question.
weekly now.
Well, listen. So if the unthinkable happens, right?
Yeah.
And the Blues find a way to find spirit and care factor for one another and beat Collingwood, is this going to be but the Pies just, like it won't mean anything, like, they were resting blokes, or is this a legitimate?
Anyone who says that this game doesn't, if Collingwood lose, and anyone who says that this game didn't mean anything because we're 2 games ahead, can go fuck themselves, really. Because this game, I don't care if the Blues are 18th and we're first, or we're 18th and Carlton are first. This game is huge. It's a rivalry. It doesn't matter where we are. We've seen this game. Yeah, okay. Sometimes it blows out, but we've seen it be closer than it should be. Look at the game for Pendlebury's 400th. We were in front by 5-6 goals, and you just happened to miss after the siren, but you guys came back in that last quarter. I say anything can happen with the provision that I think Collingwood will win by 5 goals. But I do think that this game is going to be a fucking really good game. A really, really good game.
Well, I think, to be fair, I think Jake should be the one tipping this game because he's the one that's unbiased, even though he used to be a Collingwood supporter.
That was a long time ago now. Well, I mean, it would be silly for me to not tip the top team against a team that's struggling, irrespective of who that struggling team might be. But I do agree with Swoop that Collingwood they're not going to take I think they took the Eagles lightly a little bit, and they'll come out and ramp this up as if it's a final, almost a way to warm up for the big games in September.
Genuinely, this could be like a club splitting type.
Club split?
Like Carlton are on the canvas at the moment.
But hang on. Sorry, go, Jake, go.
No, on the canvas. I mean, I don't know how. I don't think it can get much worse than graffitiing It can get worse than doing that.
Oh yes.
But surely losing to the top team versus getting pumped by Port, who are struggling, is like perspective. It's not about.
It's about the lack of spirit is the one thing that Carlton fans just will never accept.
So if you lose by a point,
that's
people still gonna
took it out of my mouth.
Are you still going to lose it? People are going to get on the fan cams and complain that you lost to
probably
the top
not
team
as
by
much,
a point?
But if that lack of spirit and fight and desire is the way it was against Port, if those characteristics show up on Friday, I do fear for the reaction. And I could be wrong. I low key think that's part of the reason the president spoke to me yesterday.
Because he thinks that he's
just in case.
Tempering.
Damage control, a little bit of that as well. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
So it's squeaky bum time. I'll be tensing.
I've really enjoyed Jay defend and skirt around. He reminds me of when you see 2 groups of mates argue because one of the mates has slept with another mate's ex. Swoop's that guy who's trying to defend what he's done. And I was kind of just sat there
what am I trying to defend? I don't understand.
Say it.
What am I trying to defend?
No, I wasn't saying you. I said Luke.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
You're not a Collingwood fan, you clown.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be, but yeah.
You lost.
I think the last 3 times Carlton Collingwood have met, it's been under 20 points. So I think this could be a very similar sort of tight, low-scoring affair again.
Terry, I'm willing to put a slab or a bottle of wine to say it'll probably be under 25 points, the margin.
I think it will be. I think it will be.
I don't think it's. I'd love to go in and win by fucking 10 goals, but Collingwood don't do that to teams.
No.
Really?
Especially, no.
So you're telling
me?
Maybe
I don't know. Maybe I'm. No, there's no chance. But maybe.
Just take
Maybe
the free
I'm,
bottle of wine, Swoop. Come on.
Maybe I'm just I don't know. Maybe I always get nervous for a Carlton Collingwood game. You know what I mean? Like I don't care if we're good, but yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Thursday night.
Oh, that's the Dogs in
Jesus
a
Christ.
absolute canter.
Sam Darcy might kick fucking 20
10
goals.
goals plus. 10 goals plus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of risk this week because Sonia Hood did that interview out of nowhere.
It's interesting. There's a lot of damage control with presidents.
You know what I mean? You've got Carlton's president pretending he was a lifelong Carlton fan. And he's looking him in the eye and saying he was born in Toorak, lives in Brighton, but he's a man of the people. When that cunt's never eaten 2-minute noodles. So, I'm telling you right now, but these first two games could be the biggest egg on their face social media outing in the history of social media. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot riding on that one, isn't there?
Yeah.
We're not going to be tipping the Eagles, any of us this week, are we?
No.
Against GWS, not really a real football team, but yeah, GWS should win that by a lot.
Bombers, Suns, Marvel Stadium.
Oh, last year that was
Suns.
a ripper. That was a ripper game last year.
That was the Mac Andrew.
Mac Andrew after the siren?
Yeah, after the siren. Yeah. I think it'll be a similar type of.
What? Didn't
of
Essendon
game.
just cop 3 fresh injuries coming off the fucking bye?
Yeah, but they've brought back
got.
Durham, Ridley, and Zach Reed.
Oh.
I think it'll be like last year. I think it'll be a shootout, and the
Close
Suns
game.
will just pip them by 3 goals. Yeah.
I'm going to tip the Bombers.
No.
Luke?
I'm
You know
going
what? I'm going to tip the
Bombers
Bombers
here.
as well. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Geelong, Richmond, GMHBA. Oh boy.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Is this
that's
like
fast.
If North and Doggies were going to be a blowout, this is Melbourne. This is when they smashed
This
Melbourne
could
at
be-
GMHBA by 200
This
points.
could be a 200-pointer, yeah. If they turn, if the Cats feel like in that mood to do it.
See, this is wild because Collingwood, if Collingwood were playing Richmond, there's no way I would say Collingwood will be winning this game by 200 points. Like, as much as I'm confident that Geelong will. It's just, I don't know. Fucking Collingwood.
Okay. Brisbane, Port, Gabba.
Ooh.
That'll be a good game.
Really?
That'll be a really good game. Yeah,
It could be, but Brisbane have thumped Port the last, I reckon, 3-4 times they've played, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going to go with that again. Who Brisbane play last week? I
reckon they had the
They had the
bye.
bye.
They had the bye. Okay, interesting.
I'll do Brizzy.
I'll go Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane. Yeah.
Wow, the Saints and so are the Saints officially in like finals killer mode, and let's just ruin everyone's finals chances?
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. Yeah, well, that's what we did last year around this point. So who knows? Hawks played well against North, though. I didn't expect them to beat them by that much.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll do that one last.
Okay, we'll do that one last. Sydney Freo, SCG. I'm convinced the Swans are coming, and they will win this game. Convinced.
Yeah, I'm with you on this
Yeah,
one.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'll go that.
Yep.
Also, am I being a hater by saying I just don't see it with Freo? I know they've won 5 in a row, 6 in a row.
I've said, who was I talking to yesterday? I said the exact same thing.
I know the results speak, and like you can't deny it, but I'm just not convinced.
Yep. I feel the exact
Yeah,
same
yeah.
way, mate.
Then
We just played them, and I would agree.
No, I'm a believer.
If they win that, then maybe you can believe 7 in a row and away win to Sydney. But if they don't, they're kind of back in the pack.
Okay. And then Adelaide, Melbourne, Adelaide Oval.
But
Yes.
that's going to be.
Adelaide by a lot.
There could be a lot of blowouts this round.
Yeah.
This could be the round.
Have you noticed
big
it's top
scores.
9 versus bottom 9?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
We were talking about this last night. We were just talking that effectively you'd say Essendon, Port, Sydney have one more loss, and it's GG's. Do you know
How
what I
many
mean?
of the
It's game over, like for both them, all them sides.
how many of the bottom 8-9 teams have we tipped so far? We tipped Sydney, who are 10th.
Are we going to tip the Saints or are we going to tip the Hawks?
I mean, I'm quietly, well, not quietly anymore, but I'm going to tip us. I think we can actually win that game.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'll give
I
a
think
shout
so.
out as well to Sean. He was the one who pointed out top 9, bottom 9 as well. I'll pay credence to the knowledge
I don't know. I can't go past Hawks.
I'm
So,
trying not to
Jakey?
get sucked into the 85-point win to North by Hawthorn.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
no,
trying
no, no.
not to
Yeah,
get
no, 100%,
seduced by
100%.
that.
Yeah.
But
Do you have a good record against the Hawks?
generally we do. It was 5 points to them last year. It was under a kick, and we played really bad. At Marvel, the last time we played them, it was a 9-1 first quarter to us, I think in 2023 or 2022. So generally pretty good game, but hard to
You're going to the game.
It's Josh Battle grudge match, mate. So
Ooh.
I said in, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
So you're driving in. This is like the car situation after a game, right?
Yes. Yeah, of course. It's the normal routine. It's the Saints vibe. I want them to play Tyroo forward so that he can be on Josh Battle, so that our compensation pick can play on the guy that we lost. And then he can take a hanger on his head. Be nice.
I love tipping the Saints. I just don't feel it will be this week.
Yeah, see,
Personally.
we've been good against Collingwood, Freo. I feel like this is the one we snatch. Like last year, we beat Sydney and Geelong and these teams out of the blue. I reckon this is the one that will be like,
Pommy, who are you tipping?
he'll tip
Hawk
off.
Saints.
He'll play it
The
safe.
weather one gets me, but
That's
then
it's a big out.
They've also announced Sicily is coming back, and Sicily was woeful before, and it just screams him coming back as the interceptor, doesn't it? And remembering who he is. It's a tough one. Like you can make arguments for both sides. I watched last week. I thought Hawks were very impressive, though, even though they beat up on them. I thought they were incredibly controlled. They were They looked like they'd found something, but Will Day and Weddle, just when you see them on the not in list, you look at that team and it doesn't impress. But they have got their keys to come back, which they've not played all year. So does that negate it? I hate to do it to Jake. I'm not doing it to wind him up.
No. I mean, they're the favourites. So
I
it's
think
not
Hawks.
like it's...
I think Hawks, but I don't think it's 4, 5, 6 goals. I think it's a couple of goals. I think Saints are going to make it hard.
Righto. Moving right along.
I like the way you subtly tip Carlton at the end. Wins all round.
Well, that was great, lads.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good to have the band back.
Really good questions. Really good questions as well.
Yeah. Really good questions. We're in the home stretch. There's no more buys now. This is it. Every team's playing every week for the rest of the year.
Oh,
Good.
thank fuck. Thank fuck.
Yeah.
Wild. Oh, we should say that you and I, Terry, are getting together on Thursday
Thursday.
to have a chat.
We'll go to
about this
we'll go to the
game.
MCG.
Get real deep.
Just the two of us.
What are we going to talk? Yeah, I actually thought about this. I'm like,
I've
is this
been
just
thinking.
is this just
I've
going
been
to
thinking
wind
about
our fan bases up?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be. I've got some things that I want to say. So it's going to be good.
Terry, can you take a shot anytime Swoop references? This feels a lot like 2023. You'll be smashed by the end of the preview.
I haven't said it once.
I know, because you're saving it. You're saving it for Thursday.
Quality by Jake.
Honestly, I really want to lean into the rivalry. I just,
No.
I can't.
I've been thinking about that as well. I think with us two, like if we're like us, if we're sort of talking, I feel like we're kind of past the let's eat each other's like let's rip each other's throats out. Do you feel that, or is it just because?
Well, yes, and yes. Firstly, yes. Secondly, my team's broken.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like it's a broken team.
Yeah, that probably doesn't.
You know, so usually when I get up and about the Blues, I genuinely believe that they're going to show up and, you know, the turning point's coming. I just, like I said, my team's broken and the Carlton supporters are just, everyone's just not happy at the moment. It's just a really tense time, you know?
And that's why I'm scared. That's why I'm a bit nervous.
He feels
to film?
Expectation.
No. About Friday night. Everyone's scared. The president's come out of hiding. This and that. Fucking Graham Wright is announced as a CEO earlier than needed. I don't know. I don't.
Can we win? You can bend stats. Can we win?
You can bend stats.
What? Ben, what? Let's like the last stat bender. I mean, can Carlton win? Yeah, of course. I mean, look, my reservation is the last 2 weeks. I'm not giving them any out. Like this week, honestly, I want all the fans to be on the same page as well. Don't be warped by the fact that some pompous idiot in Sweden and Sydney has floated off his iron-clad throne to talk to Terry. There's still big problems. Them players, the whole ethos of the last 2 weeks has been barbaric. This week, though, there's no excuse. It's Collingwood. Don't care if you don't like Vossi. Don't care if you don't like the board. Don't care if you don't like the cheese fucking board. This is Collingwood Football Club, number one on the ladder, absolutely waltzing towards a flag. If these boys don't get up and show up, like honestly, don't want anyone crying about articles, trade this player, trade that player. Because if they can't get up for this, that means they don't respect the jersey. That means they don't respect tradition. That means they don't respect you or I. So for me, yes, Terry, of course they can win. If they go out there with that hunger and they actually start acting like they're real fucking human beings that have been paid to do a job, yes, they've got a chance. If they don't, though, this team thrives on punishing us. The fact Maynard's back. Maynard's so pumped for this game, he knocked John de Goey stone cold out. like Maynard's words ring true. He fucking loves beating Carlton.
Yeah.
And I think that exists in all of them. And what a great time to play. I wish I was in Luke's position. I wouldn't have been coming on here with pretend glasses, even though I've got 20/20 vision and being
I don't
humble.
have 20/20 vision. I don't have 20/20 vision.
See, look, he's even denying his eyesight, chat. That's where he is now. He is so humble, we can't fucking be honest anymore.
2023 vision.
But
Bang!
That's actually pretty good.
That's fucking good. That's fucking good.
Tell you what, big game though, man. Big game. And
Fair.
look, this is real, man. I'll tell you what, you lose this.
And they're only a game and a half clear.
I'm excited to see who Robert Priestley texts next. He loses this. Who does he text next? Who does he go in the phone book? Go, please, baby, give me the time of day. They're drawing cocks on my face. Like,
are there any big ins or exciting ins for the Blues this week?
Yeah, Harry O'Farrell, mate. Gonna absolutely baff Brody Myercheck, O'Farrell is.
Oh, goodness.
Half man.
Harry O'Farrell.
So Harry O'Farrell, interesting stat about Harry O'Farrell or fact. His father was the lawyer that got Cripps off.
Get Cripps off, and we'll get your kid into the team. Interesting.
Oh, that's how he got his contract. Okay.
No.
Nah, he was a good player. Good player.
Okay.
You've also got Lockie Cowan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Tommy and Oz royalty. Did an impression of Chris Judd this weekend in the VFL. Ashton Moyer.
Maybe this is what we need. We need these no-names.
Boys are in trouble because I've seen that guy's KD ratio on Fortnite. So if he doesn't beat you on the ground, good luck getting the fucking dubs when he's on PlayStation 5 at 4 in the morning.
Hey, this is
Who's the real winner?
Yeah, blood the youth, mate. Come on,
we need the no-namers.
Embrace the youth.
We need Luke to have his who moment like I did with Ned Long.
Yeah,
I literally just Googled Harry O'Farrell. So there you go.
Well,
Cowan fans, that's how low we've sunk. He's Googling our list, man.
You can't beat what you don't know, right, Swoop? That's the problem.
Yeah, hey, exactly right. That's why we're debuting Rowan Steele in a big clash.
What position is he?
Terry's face, he's like, who?
No, I'll tell you what. I'll cop it. Like, I get it. Being a realist, you know where the Blues are at. They suck. But it's just like to live in a reality where I got Jake fucking like making comments about Carlton when we're playing Collingwood like that. Just like it just.
I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun, man.
I know. And you know what? Fair enough. But
thank you.
Yeah,
that is fair enough. It's pretty fair. It's pretty fair.
To be fair though, Terry, your hatred shouldn't be directed at Saints because
no, it's
really,
not. It's a situation.
No, because really, if the board actually did watch this channel, take away 1995, take away that history in the last 10 years, we've got nothing to mock Saints with.
I know. It's just
nothing to mock anyone in the last 20 years with. Like
that dates back to my TikTok of the wooden spoon ladder.
Yeah, no, because in reality,
Terry hated
recent history. Like
like
you see all the old people come out on Twitter. Oh, I wish we had Harms playing. Most people don't know. Like, can you imagine? Like, I was saying this the other day to one of my mates, like who works for the National Academy, and I was saying, can you imagine going up as a Carlton representative and going, mate, we can make you big. We had Anthony Koutafidis. And I was like, most of these people weren't born when Kouta was playing. Now, coming through the draft. So a lot of them will be like, oh, is he that idiot that tried to blag Bean Mayor by giving free coffees but had no other fucking policies? Like, I was like, that's what you're selling. You're selling a dream where they weren't even born in that. They're probably looking at Carlton as the ones we bullied the kids at school for supporting because they were the bottom two for 6 years. So I was like, that's where we need to humble ourselves a little bit. So yes, we deserve the abuse from St. Kilda.
I don't think I'm abusing or anything. I'm not saying anything that's not true.
You are, Jake. So. You always abuse us. You know what I mean? You should see my DMs at 9 a.m.
It's because I finally want you to hit reality, Pom. I want you to actually see the club for what it is. That's why.
I was there a long time ago, kidder. Like, but weird.
We're getting to that point where we go over that 1 hour 30 and things get
this
weird.
Is done. Let's
Terry knows it too. Terry knows it too, and he lets it drift. He lets it drift.
Me and Jake arrange a fight behind the playground.
a little bit of fodder for the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. See you next week.
See you then.
Go, guys.
Go football.